this. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I believe this. I think Sean Payton has a mixed relationship with the league office. He's taken shots at quarterbacks. He's taken Russell Wilson. He's taken shots at coaches. NFL does not like friendly fire. Zip it. Look at Denver's schedule. They're punishing them. The first 6 games, that's the toughest 6-game schedule I have ever seen in my life, and I'm a geek on this stuff. I am a nerd on schedules. I've never seen anything like that. At Chiefs, Jags, Rams, at Niners, at Chargers, at Seahawks. They could have thrown an Arizona game in there, a Panthers game in there. They could have thrown that Steeler game in there, the Raider game in there. Nope. Front heavy with Bo Nix coming off a surgery. I believe, again, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I think Sean Payton has irked a few people. He's been outspoken, a little friendly fire sometimes in the league. That feels like they're trying to punish him. Now, you could say, Colin, Denver and the Chargers, I mean, they're in the division. It's the division. No, it's not, because the best division in football statistically, J-Mac and I have talked about this, is the NFC North.
All right. Let's discuss the Denver Broncos, and not the NFC North for now. The Broncos are being penalized. How does that land with you right from the start? I'm genuinely curious about that. Colin has floated these kinds of ideas before. We've covered that. And I just finished a video breaking that down a little earlier, but Colin was really the one who opened my eyes to the sequencing of the schedule and how much he thinks the NFL actively shapes things. When he's talked about situations like Aaron Rodgers, the Kansas City Chiefs, or when Caleb Williams first got drafted by the Chicago Bears, he had a whole argument about how the league wants him to succeed. He brought on Peter Schrager because it's such a huge market, and it was all about the schedule structure, easing him into action, and so on. And now he's talking, of course, about Sean Payton and the NFL wanting to hand down a punishment, this and that. And I'm just sitting here thinking, yeah, I don't know. I'm processing this in real time right now. The Chiefs. Okay. The Jaguars, the Rams, the 49ers, the Chargers, the Seahawks. I don't know, man. Honestly, it just looks like a schedule to me. It just looks like a typical fixture list for a strong team that made it to the AFC Championship game. That's what it appears to be from where I'm standing. I don't see any punishment at the moment, especially not for the Denver Broncos, and here's why. According to CBS Sports, the Patriots-Broncos game average D 48.6 million viewers. The broadcast peaked at 57.759 million during key moments. That made it the most watched postseason game on any network this year. That was with a backup quarterback. And a game that ended what, 10-9 or 10-7? I can't even recall now. It was hardly an action-packed affair. And just to be clear, the Chiefs-Bills matchup, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, AFC Championship game, final score 32-29, an absolutely wild contest, they topped out at 57 million. Meanwhile, the Seahawks-Rams game, which was a genuine shootout, division rivals, etc., drew 46 million viewers on Fox. So, look. The Broncos in the playoffs, the Broncos in a conference championship game, that brings a lot of excitement. That generates a ton of energy. And not all playoff games are equal. The 49ers-Eagles wild card round game was one of the most watched playoff games of the entire postseason. It pulled in better numbers than the Packers-Bears game, which had the potential of Chicago finally winning a playoff game with Caleb Williams. Yet the 49ers-Eagles had stronger viewership, right? So not everything is created equal. And the 49ers-Seahawks game had, well, not no views, but not great numbers either. That's what the NFL cares about. And that's what Colin was discussing, ratings, and how he talked about the holiday games and such. So if you're trying to punish the Denver Broncos, again, by hoping they don't win the division or can't make a deep playoff run, I'm just trying to make sense of it. Bika. Actually, if you think about it, I'm not saying this is what I'm rooting for or even what I necessarily want. But one of the most intense possible matchups would be a playoff rematch between the Patriots and Broncos, with the real Bo Nix on the field this time. And everyone's saying, yeah, now let's see what happens. Now let's see what happens now that we've got this guy right here. So I just don't know. And there is a whole collection of fascinating playoff matchups that could happen. The Broncos are included in a lot of them. Of course, we know the Bills and the Chiefs, and we know all those various combinations. But the Broncos and the Patriots, the Broncos and the Chiefs, the Broncos and the Bills in a rematch again, that's box office. Those become must-see events. I'll tell you what doesn't necessarily move the needle as much, Texans and Bills. Again, I'm excited for those games because I'm a big football nerd, so I'll love it. I'll be pumped. But when I'm thinking about it from this angle, I'm considering the general audience and what excites people, what gets people talking. And the Broncos are part of a lot of those scenarios. So, yeah, I don't know. The whole Broncos are being punished and Sean Payton caught in friendly fire narrative. I'm just not sure, man. I'm not sure. And you've got the Chiefs, the Jaguars, the Rams, the 49ers, the Chargers. Division games are always division games, we know that, right? Then you've got the Jaguars, Rams, and 49ers. A lot of people think the 49ers are not great anymore, that they're going to trend downward. The Jaguars, people think they just got a little hot at the end of the season against an easier schedule, playing bad teams, and that they're a bit of fool's gold. I know Colin thinks the Seahawks are going to take a step back. He doesn't even have them in the NFC Championship game. Then you have the Cardinals, and it's like, okay, then you play the Chiefs again because they're in your division. Fine. And Patrick Mahomes is coming back from his surgery. So if it's bad for Bo Nix to return from an ankle surgery, well, it's certainly bad for Mahomes to come back from a knee surgery, right? Then you have the Panthers, then a bye week, then the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Dolphins. That seems pretty favorable. And the Jets as well, then the Raiders again. So it's like, and then, as always, that Week 18 game could mean absolutely nothing. We have no idea. Those final games and those final division matchups, we have zero clue what they'll signify whatsoever. And depending on how the Raiders approach their season regarding Kirk Cousins, or Mendoza, what's the storyline there? You're either facing an older Kirk Cousins late in the season, and you wonder what that will look like, or Cousins starts the season and now you're playing Mendoza in roughly his third ever professional game, on the road in Denver at Mile High. So again, these are the kinds of things nobody can predict. I have no idea how though. Small details will unfold. But it could be incredibly favorable. It could be one of those situations where the first 8 weeks, as long as they roughly split and go 4-4, they're in a great position to then reach 10-4 or something like that. And then the final games round out, and you end up as a 12 or 13 win team, depending on exactly how things break. So to me, it's all kind of par for the course. And yeah, I don't know. I find the conversations about all of this so fascinating. I find it incredibly interesting, and Colin definitely approaches it in a way that others don't. He very much looks at it as the NFL being intentional with what they're doing. Everyone else just looks through the lens of, oh, is this schedule hard? Is it easy? Is it tough to play the Rams and the 49ers in back-to-back weeks? Oh, look, they're on the road 3 games in a row at Arrowhead and in LA. And sure, those are interesting conversations too. But Colin is very much about, what does the NFL want us to think right now? What is the league trying to accomplish right now? And like I said, I don't remember if I mentioned it in this video or my other one, Colin does have that inside information. He has more of that knowledge than any of us. We can disagree with Colin's takes about who will be better, the Chiefs or the Broncos, Bo Nix or Justin Herbert. But he does know media, and he's actually having real conversations with the actual people who are either part of the NFL or the real executive. Who directly interact with the league, whether through Fox Sports or whatever else. So he's obviously having much deeper, more on-the-ground discussions than any of us are ever exposed to. So I wouldn't completely dismiss what Colin is saying, because at the end of the day, he is an expert on media, right? You can question his opinions on football or basketball or whatever, but he is clearly an expert in media. He understands that world, and he understands TV ratings better than any of us ever will. It's his job. It's literally what he's surrounded by 24/7 for decades. So it's interesting. It's all thought-provoking. But I still struggle to process it all and try to make sense of it. So, yeah. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Denver Broncos being punished by the NFL? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's start some discussions. Let's get into some debates, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing, as we're building an amazing community here and I would absolutely love to see you as part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing that. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.